So I'm going to talk about a brand new work of public art tonight, a monumental work that I haven't spoken to any audience before tonight. You're going to have the first audience to hear about it. And I'm going to take, that's great, and take you on a little journey of, I have to move at a quick pace here, of a symbol moving from fear to love. But let's hear it for the Bay Lights for just a second. You know, a beautiful, beautiful work. And coming back on January 30th next year, everyone be there. Really an extraordinary work of public art, a community coming together to make this happen in extraordinary ways. And really, the piece just shone so bright, it lit a path beyond itself. In fact, there was so much opportunity, it started to feel like responsibility and very personal responsibility. So I actually, a year and a half ago, closed down a 20-year successful design and communication firm and took on the running of Illuminate the Arts, a nonprofit arts organization here in San Francisco. And what I'm going to share with you next is some of the projects we have under development here in San Francisco. Feel free to get excited about these. And if you want to cheer a little bit when you see the image, like this image called Aurora, this is for the Super Bowl 50, a very elegant way to express 50 without putting a big giant number on something, and really a way to create activation, but also really activation of our most important street, Market Street. There's a project called Light Rail. Have folks heard about Light Rail project in San Francisco? 2.1 miles of light that reflect above your head what's happening beneath your feet with the transit system, and using light and energy and movement to seamlessly permeate to those economic and emotional divides that have segregated that street for so long. But let me take you to my personal life. I moved to San Francisco in 1994, about 20 years ago, and part of my regular routine for all those years has been to run to the top of Twin Peaks and just sit. And really, I don't know how to meditate and clear my brain, so I let my brain go wherever it wants to go. And I realized that, boy, these visions were starting to manifest. You know, the Bay Lights, the Aurora on the ferry building, the Light Rail project. But I kept getting this interference for the past year on my left. This tower was speaking to me, Sutro Tower. It had a vision that I kept saying, shh, be quiet. I have projects to work on. I don't want to pay attention. Please be quiet. And then on Valentine's Day, I went with my love to the DeYoung Museum and saw the Keith Haring Show. An amazing show by an amazing artist who died at age 31 of AIDS, but it was doing phenomenal work about symbols and creating this really simple but universal language around just ways to see the universe and ways that we can be connected deeply. And as I left that show, there's a giant piece, a giant pink triangle about as tall as I am, the title of which is Silence Equals Death. And I stood there in front of that piece and I just melted, because I knew a little bit about the history of that art, of that symbol rather. It starts in the most brutal of circumstances in Nazi Germany, stitched onto the clothing of homosexuals as they were shoved onto the cattle cars into the death marches of the death camps, just the symbol of fear, a symbol of death. 30, 40 years later, it becomes the symbol of rage as another genocide sweeps the world through the AIDS crisis. And through the queer and the ACT UP movement, this symbol starts to have a different meaning, very naturally coming out of that fear and death into rage. And then most beautifully, it's reappropriated. The community starts to own it, takes ownership of it. It becomes a symbol of pride, very inclusive, not just gay, but LGBTQ, and the acronym keeps going. And the symbol I saw, I think, takes it to the next level, which is the polar opposite of where it starts at fear, and it just moves straight into love. Because this is what I kept seeing. And this is what I decided I couldn't be silent about. And the Bay Lights gave me, a vehicle. The Bay Lights gave me a community. The Bay Lights gave me an audience. The Bay Lights gave me credibility, and I knew where to go. And I went to, in fact, just 2 weeks ago, I went and met with the ownership of Sutro Tower, these 4 networks, and I presented the idea. And in that very meeting, they gave me non-binding permission to go ahead and pursue this artwork and look to install this on the Sutro Tower. Really amazing. Really amazing. And then we got to figure out how to get approval. You know, this is an unusual piece, but certainly we need to respect the people who live closest to it, even though people who live as far away as the East Bay and the North Bay can see this as well. So there's going to be respectful engagement with those folks. I'm also happy to say that I've been to the top of this tower. We're the same team that did the Bay Lights. We have a technical team that knows how to solve the problem, and we're working on that right now. Really amazing to see it all coming together. And of course, the last step, once we figure out, to get permission, is the money. And we'll figure that out. I'm confident if we can cross those other divides together, we can figure out how to make this happen in our community, in our Bay Area, and become this beautiful symbol. The name of this project is Love Above. You're the first to hear about it. Thank you so much.